Hi everyone! Today for math, you're going to need the number grid in the back of your math journal, or if you don't like using this number grid, I've also posted a number grid for you in the announcements section of Seesaw. So you could print out the number grid there if you prefer, but this number grid in your back of your math journal will work just fine. Today we are going to be learning about adding two-digit numbers on the number grid, so that's why you'll need that. Okay, yesterday we talked about adding two-digit numbers and I taught you one strategy for doing that, and that was making the numbers into base 10 blocks and then counting the base 10 blocks. Now that might have been a really easy strategy for you, or it might not have been an easy strategy for you. That's okay, that's why we learn different strategies so that we can figure out which one works best for us and then use that one. So today I have another strategy for you for adding two-digit numbers together, and that's going to be on our number grid. Now before we do two-digit numbers, let's think about how number grids work. First of all, we know that when we count across the number grid like this, we are counting by ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on. But when we go up and down on the number grid in those columns, then we're counting by tens. As the numbers get bigger, we're counting up by tens. As the numbers get smaller, we're counting back by tens. That's really important for what we're going to do today, because sometimes we'll be breaking up larger numbers into tens and ones because that's just easier for counting on the number grid. Now I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see a number grid up close and you'll see me counting on it. And you should use your number grid at home to follow along with what I'm doing. So I'm showing you the number grid on my screen because I think you'll be able to see this a little bit more clearly. But let's talk about how we can add two-digit numbers on a number grid. Let's say I wanted to add the numbers 44 and 21. Now with the strategy we learned yesterday, we can say there are 4 tens in the number 44 and 4 ones. Okay, in the number 21, we see 2 tens and 1 1. Now, you can count these base 10 blocks and very easily figure out what 44 plus 21 is, right? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 44 plus 21 is 65. But there are other ways to figure out how to solve this, and we're going to use this number grid today to demonstrate it. 44 is right here on the number grid, right? So when we add numbers together, it's really helpful to start at the larger number. Now the larger number happens to be in the beginning of this number sentence, but we want to start with the larger number just because it's faster. So 44 is the larger number. I highlighted it here. Hopefully on your number grid, you were able to find the number 44 as well. Now I know I need to count up 21. I need to count up because this is a plus sign. So I know that I could start at 44 and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? And I could count up 21. And that would be great. It would take me a while, but I could definitely do that. A faster way to do this would be to break up the number 21 into tens and ones, which I actually already did because I have these base 10 blocks here showing the number 21. How many tens are in the number 21? 2. How many ones are in the number 21? 1. I can use that to help me count on this number grid. When I see 2 tens, that means I can count up by going 10, 20. See how I hopped starting at 44 and my numbers got bigger, so I went 10, 20. Now I need to hop 1, not 10 more, just 1 more. And so instead of going here to 74, I'm going to move over 1 because I know that moving over like this is counting by ones. That means I've landed on 65. 44 plus 21 equals 65. I started at 44 and said 10, 20, 1, 21. That was a lot faster than counting 21 hops, right? So let's do another one using this same strategy. Okay, here's one that's a little bit larger. Now, I'm going to add 52 plus 46. I showed this with base 10 blocks here in this picture. You don't have to do that. I'm just showing you what the tens and ones look like. So I know the number 52 has 5 tens and 2 ones. And I see the number 46 has 4 tens and 6 ones. Now, which of these numbers is larger? Is it 52 or 46? 52. So I know I'm going to start at the larger number on my number grid because that's just faster. Here's 52 on the number grid. Make sure you also find the number 52 on your number grid. Now, when I go to add the number 46, I could sit here and count 46 hops, but that would take me a while, right? Instead, it's going to be a little faster to break this up into tens and ones. I know just from looking at this number that there are 4 tens and 6 ones in 46. So first, I'm going to count 4 tens on the number grid by hopping down in this column underneath 52, and then I will hop 6 ones. So here's what that looks like. Start at 52, 10, 20, 30, 40. Now I'm going to hop 6 ones because there's a 6 in the ones place. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What number did I land on? 98. Make sure that you show this on your number grid as well. I can check my math by looking at these base 10 blocks. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98. So it checks out because I got 98 using both of these methods. Now this also works for subtraction. So if I wanted to do 67 minus 35, I can easily count back on a number grid too. I'm always going to start at the larger number. This is especially important for subtraction. So the larger number here is 67. I find that right here. 67. Now, when I go to subtract 35, I'm not going to move this way on the number grid because that's how my numbers get bigger. No, I'm going to count back, so I'm going to move this way on the number grid. Now, I didn't show the base 10 blocks here because I think you probably have the hang of it by now. If I look at the number 35, I can see a 3 in the tens place and a 5 in the ones place. So I know that I need to count back 3 tens and 5 ones. So that means I'm going to start at 67. I'm going to stay in this column and count back 3 tens. Here we go. 10, 20, 30. Now I need to count back 5 ones. This is the tricky part because I'm not going to make my numbers bigger by counting this direction. I'm going to make the numbers smaller by counting this direction. I know that the number 35 has 5 ones, so I'm going to count like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is telling me that 67 take away 35 is 32. That makes sense because my numbers got smaller as I counted backwards. Counting backwards on a number grid is a little tricky. You just have to go slow and make sure your numbers are always getting smaller as you count back. Okay, so now we've learned 2 strategies for adding 2-digit numbers. Of course, there are more ways to do it, but we've learned about base 10 blocks and counting on the number grid. Now, I want to let you know that when we do math lessons together, when I check your assignments on Seesaw, or when I'm having you do math in the classroom and using the things in the classroom, I'm grading you on whether you are using tools appropriately. That's actually one of the standards that we have in math, meaning that's one of the things that we need to make sure we can do by the end of the year in order to pass on to second grade. One of the things we need to be able to do is use tools in the right way. I have this little chart here that shows what kind of goals we should have for math this year. And I just want to show you one of the goals talks about using tools appropriately. So when you use your whiteboard, or when you use your number grid or base 10 blocks, those are all tools. And I'm looking to see if you are using those things correctly to help you solve problems. Another thing that I'm looking for you to be able to do here in first grade is to be able to explain your reasoning. That means, can you tell me how you solved the problem? We do this all the time in the classroom and during morning meeting on Zoom. You're always explaining to me how you got what you got, and that's huge because that's what I'm looking for as I teach you math, and that shows me that you're becoming a better and better mathematician. I also am looking for you to be able to use labels and units in your problem solving. So like that example when we were doing number stories in morning meeting, and I said, oh no, we need to use units on our problems because we need to tell what the thing is that we're counting in these problems. I'm looking for you to be able to use units and labels correctly as part of our math goals for the year. Sometimes I like to share that just so that you know what you're being graded on and what I'm actually looking for as we get better and better at math and as you move toward second grade, which is hard to believe that this year is half over and in another half of a year, you'll be in second grade. Another thing I need to tell you before you go do your assignment is that on our January homework calendar, it says we have a math test on Thursday. Actually, I moved it to Friday. I know it doesn't really make a difference to you because you're going to get it done either way, but we needed one more day to do a little bit more learning and review before the test, so I just pushed it to Friday. That means you only have 2 math assignments in your home links book this week. You'll turn those in when we get back to school on the 19th. And then there's no homework on these 3 days. Just know that the math test is coming on Seesaw on Friday. For your math assignment today, you get to choose 2 animals from the back of your book, and you're going to follow the directions on the page that's posted in Seesaw so that you can add those 2 animal weights together, and then talk about what tool you used to solve that problem. Remember, we're talking about tools and using them appropriately, so I want to know what tool you chose to use to add those numbers together, and then I'm looking to see if you were able to do it correctly. Remember, those animal cards that you need to solve this problem are in the back of your math journal. All right, see you tomorrow.